this is Sean Carson, and I'd like to welcome you to today's episode of our 30-day DTI challenge. And in today's episode, and in fact the next three, we'll be talking about a little bit of troubleshooting. So how to fix things that might not be working as well as you would like. And the processes that we're going to describe all come out of what we like to call the Vulcan mind meld. And this is a way of really integrating the model's beliefs and values and drivers with your own so that they work together. And one of the differences which can cause a problem in terms of fully integrating the skills of the model under the DTI is this idea of, are you moving towards something or are you moving away from something? And what we typically find is that the models that people choose are very much driven by moving towards what they want. They move towards their dreams. Think of Thomas Edison. Okay, he wanted to invent the light bulb. So he tried 1,000 different ways of making a light bulb. He was driven by that idea of that dream of making a light bulb. And when he was asked, how does it feel to have failed 1,000 times? He said, I didn't fail 1,000 times, I didn't even fail once. I found 1,000 ways of not making a light bulb. Because all the failures were behind him. They were just things that he'd learned on his way towards his goal. He wasn't motivated by a fear of failure, he was motivated by his dream of inventing the light bulb. Now, sometimes us mere mortals who are trying to gain these skills, we might be driven at least partly by away from type of values. So not necessarily towards what we want, but away from what we don't want. And this very often comes out in a value of safety. Okay, so I won't give a presentation in public because it might not go the way I want it to go, and then I wouldn't feel safe. Or I might not try and invent something or write a book or live my dream, because if it doesn't go well, then that'll make me feel bad. So it's this idea of safety. I want to keep myself safe from failure or disappointment or being looked down on or whatever it is. So we have the model who is being driven towards their goal, their dream, and then me as the modeler, and I'm moving away from risk. If that's the situation, then this is the pattern that we use. What we look for is some event in the life of the model when they clearly had an away from value. So they clearly wanted to be safe. They wanted to avoid risk. But in spite of that value, they did what they did. So they did what they did in spite of their away from value, if that makes sense. Let me give you a specific example. I recently did a DTI with Amelia Earhart, the famous female aviator, for a sense of adventure. And her claim to fame in the first instance was that she was the first woman to fly across the Atlantic. Now, this was at a time when the planes of the day could barely make that flight. And although a number of flights had made it, maybe 4 or 5 flights with male crews, a lot of the people who tried had actually crashed in the Atlantic and died. So she had the opportunity to be the first female to cross the Atlantic in a plane. And she actually wrote that it was a very, very dangerous thing to do, and she was afraid of dying because so many people had died. But what she said was, it will be worth it. Even if I die, this is such an adventure that it's going to be worth it for me to do it in spite of the risk. So she had that away from value, that desire to be safe, but in spite of that, she took the risk because it was worth it. And when you have that clash of values, your model is toward and you're away from, it's important to find at least one event in your model's life where they had a similar away from value, but they did it in spite of that. They did what they did in spite of that. They pursued their dream in spite of that. And you'll take that value, that time in the life of the model, and you'll incorporate that into the event matrix. So where they were, what they did, how they felt and thought, and that value of being away from, but doing it in spite of that. And then you will DTI with that experience where the model had that away from value, so that you'll be used to being able to feel your own wish for safety, but in spite of that, you'll pursue your dreams. So that's all we've got time for in this episode, and we'll see you in the next episode.